this is Evelyn Van Zant with Mrs. VZ's Classes, and I'm here with my cup of coffee this morning, sitting down to create my first classroom management video. And this classroom management video is all about how you set up your Zoom classroom. Just like you would go into your regular classroom and you would tidy up and you would get ready for the day, just like that, you need to set up your Zoom classroom in order to more effectively manage your class. I teach classes that meet twice a week for 50 minutes a piece. So I only have, 100 minutes? What is that, 100 minutes a week to teach these students everything that their parents have paid me to teach them. So I need their focus and I need their attention. And the way that I get that is by classroom management. And this is the first step, is setting up my Zoom classroom in a way that allows my students to focus more fully on me and to hopefully, be a little less distracted while they are in the classroom. So I'm going to pop on over to my video, and I hope you enjoy it. And feel free to message me at Mrs. VZ's Classes and let me know if you have any questions. You can also follow my YouTube page and my Facebook page at Mrs. VZ's Classes. Hi, welcome to step 1 in my management techniques for my Outschool Zoom classroom. And the most important step for me is step 1, because without getting my classroom prepped and ready for the students to come in, then I leave a lot to chance. And I don't like to leave anything to chance when I am dealing with my students. I have a limited amount of time with them, and I want to make sure that I make the very most of it. So here are some of the techniques that I use to get my Zoom classroom ready. First thing that I do is I click this stop video button. I log into my class about 10 minutes early, and then I click that stop video button, because as I'm getting ready for class, I'm sitting in front of that camera, and I don't necessarily want them to watch everything I'm doing if they end up going back to watch the recording. So I click that stop video button, and then my screen looks a little more like this. And then I'm able to kind of settle in and do a little bit of my preparations. You can see over there now that the Zoom video has like the start video has like a line through it. So that shows you that I am done with that. The next thing that I do is I click this spot right here, the securities spot. And it's right here on your Zoom screen at the bottom. And what I am looking for here is the rename themselves spot. And I like to lock that down by clicking it. So you can see right now it says allow participants to. And so if it's clicked, they are allowed to do that. And I do not like to allow my students to change their names. So I'm going to click on that and make that turn to no check mark there. And the reason that I do this is because I have a lot of students and I get a little confused when they are renaming themselves some really funny names, right? And I'm sure that it's fun and there's a place for that, but this is not the place for them to rename themselves. So I lock that down, and when I click on this, what it does is it takes that check mark away so that I am no longer allowing them to rename themselves. The next thing I do is I open my participants tab here. And I just click on that and it opens this up. Then I'm ready to receive students. In my own, this is my private Zoom account, but in my Outschool Zoom account, I actually go in and change my name at this point to Mrs. VZ. And so in my Outschool account, I do actually do a little something there. The next thing that I do is I lock down the chat. The chat. It is such a wonderful feature, and I leave it open for students to chat with me, but I do not want it open for them to chat with everyone. And if you notice, there are these 3 dots right here at the bottom right. And that's what we're going to focus on for a moment or two as I show you how to lock down your chat feature. So you can see here that once I have clicked that, now it has some options for me. And you can see that it is enabled because it has a check mark there. And that means that the children are able to chat with everyone in the class. Now, for me, that's a no-go, because what happens is they begin chatting with one another instead of paying attention to what I'm trying to teach them. And their parents are paying them to be in a class with me for the purpose of learning something. And so I want to make sure that I've got their attention, and this is one of the ways that I can do that. So once I have clicked on that, then I change it to this feature right here. So I move my check mark to here, and that makes me happy. And it allows the students to still use the chat. They're just chatting with me. So if a student is having trouble with their audio, they can still communicate with me. They just are communicating via the chat, and not everyone else is seeing that. And I think that's really, really important, because sometimes students aren't always via chat, are not always as clear as they might be verbally. And so I think it's really important that we lock that down. For my sanity, I lock that down. The next thing that I do is I actually share my screen for this part. And you can see that my screen is shared because you can see this part right up here where it says stop share. So that means that my screen is shared. So this is my screen share thing right here that I've set up for you guys. And what I'm looking for when I am correcting this little setup that Outschool automatically sets up is I'm looking for this more button up here at the top right. And there might be another way to do this, but this is the way that I've found to do it. First, you share your screen, and then you click the more. And when you click the more, you get this drop down. And what we're looking for is this line right here. It says disable annotation for others. And you want to check mark that. You want it to be disabled for others. And what that means is if it is enabled, then students can actually write on your screen while you're teaching. Now, that can be very distracting. And there are times in the class where I allow my students to annotate on the screen, but I purposely enable that at that time. I hope this has been helpful, and stick around or watch my YouTube videos for future tips on classroom management in Outschool. I hope that was a helpful video on how to set up your Zoom classroom for optimal classroom management.